Hello, my name is Suzanne Scott, and I'm going to speak about the learning theories. There are 5 of them that I'm going to address: behaviorist, cognitive, social learning, psychodynamic, and humanistic. They can each be used to increase or decrease the behavior, and the following document is going to outline exactly how you can use each of those theories to promote behavioral change. The following section is going to be based on Bastable 2017. Behaviorists would use passive, it's more acting and responding. It's reward versus punishment based. If I do this, then this happens. It can be used to detract and attract all kinds of behaviors. For example, a child learns, don't touch the stove. Doesn't matter how many times that mom says, don't touch the stove. They don't learn until they go up and they touch the stove and it's hot. And the next time they say, I'm not going to touch that stove, it's hot. I got burned last time. On the flip side, you can use it to increase behaviors. You have a student who you want them to work ahead of due dates because they are constantly coming in at the last minute, and the quality of work it needs to improve. So work ahead of due dates, and then the student does it and finds out that there's no stress, and then they continue to work ahead of the due dates and have no stress all semester long. Their school journey does well. That's a way that you can use it to increase the behavior. For the socialist theory, they believe more in role models and creating a sense of self and the social learning environment as a whole. So one way that you could use this to increase the behavior is to pair students together, one with a desirable behavior, one without, and allow the learner to glean the desired behavior from working with the other student and watching the other student. Providing daily check-ins about how the learner is perceiving their progress, that's expected. How others in the same peer social circle perceive the change to or from a desirable or undesired behavior is also elemental. For example, some may offer words of encouragement to do better, to reach the goal of the behavioral change, while others may suggest opportunities for improvement. Both of those are acceptable within the social learning environment. For a psychodynamic, this more revolves around childhood experiences, feelings of emotional expression. It's not exactly concrete learning as we would think that learning journeys would be on. It's more so how the learner feels during the learning journey. That's most important. So to decrease the behavior, it involves a great deal of emotional expression to build the confidence required to make the change happen. For example, a person who's a constant procrastinator and most times is doing it by unconscious and conscious behavior, through feelings of expression, the instructor can learn the reason for the procrastination is because the learner juggles way too many hats and has throughout their entire educational journey. They've always come in just at the baseline for due dates. They never work ahead. They look at due dates as more of a suggestion and okay, I have to have it done by the 29th. I'm going to do it on the 28th at midnight. And that's just because they juggle so many hats, they don't really know how to prioritize their work. All of that is learned through emotional expression and feelings expression. And through suggestion, the learner can then prioritize their responsibilities and figure out extra time to work on their educational work. And therefore, their journey is better, less stress, and they stop the procrastination. For the cognitive learning theory, it's highly active, self-directed. It's based a lot on perception and thought processing. So the key to learning is changing the perception. For example, trying to teach a child to potty train, no diaper equals pee on the floor. reinforcement of the area to pee when pee does go on the floor, and then the child learns that pee goes in the toilet through thought processes that happen through the reinforcement. And it kind of sounds something like this inside of their head. It's important to note that the cognitive learning theory, everything is focused on what goes on inside of the head. I don't have a diaper anymore. I mustn't pee on the floor because that's wrong. That creates an imbalance. When they pee on the floor, they know pee doesn't go on the floor, mostly because you're going to tell them pee doesn't go on the floor, it goes in the toilet. And then the child is saying, I'm learning to pee, that pee goes in the toilet. I have to go to the bathroom when I need to pee. Thus, the potty training is progressing. For the humanistic learning theory, it's also highly active, also self-directed. It's based on the theory that humans want to do good and they want to learn. In this case, the do good is learn. So the patient wants to do good and learn how to control his diet so he can lose weight and he can decrease his blood pressure naturally. The humanistic theory relies on the patient's desire to learn and guide responsibility to facilitate learning based on feelings of expression, thoughts, goals, progressions, and self-concept. And I'm running out of time. So you could use this. A nurse is late every day. A manager engages the nurse in a conversation to discover why, which is the humanistic part. She is late every day and she is served a formal warning, behaviorist. The nurse then learns that she needs to leave early to anticipate the traffic so as to not be late anymore. This is combining two together. Another way is a patient has undergone a prostatectomy, which resulted in the creation of an ileal conduit. The wound care nurse is preparing to teach the patient how to change and maintain his pouch. The wound care nurse begins by trying to show him a printout of all the steps, which is cognitive, and encourages him to verbalize his feelings about a situation and the reasons why he feels it's important to maintain a healthy stoma, psychodynamic, while actively performing a pouch change so he can view the steps listed on the paper in real life, social. Discuss the following scenarios. For the first scenario, there may be a weakness in cognitive learning as this is a learned skill and it's not innate. Voicing her feelings about or exploring the emotions will not motivate her in this skill. So I would further collect data based on her knowledge of what the physiologic data means versus and how it's manifested by the patient, what the basic mathematical competency is for the nurse, and how the orientee learns best by seeing, doing, etc. I would then devise a plan tailored to the orientee based on these answers. The self-efficacy approach, Bandura states that part of his social cognitive learning theory is to create and foster perceptions of competence. Ling et al. 2021. I must take into account that, according to the self-efficacy theory, stress is increased when self-efficacy is low. Therefore, I must refrain from emphasizing performance at that time. Instead, emphasis should be placed on the competency. You can do this, encouraging self-evaluation. How do you think you're doing and why? By placing the power into the hands of the learner, the element of accountability and motivation can evolve from a negative subject, such as failing a class. The emphasis must be placed on the control the learner has on the situation, failing the class. So what happened? What control do you have to make sure that it changes next time? And then you have the attribution theory. The nursing student failed because, enter reason for failure here. If he or she had not done whatever it was that led to her failing, then he or she would not have failed. The next time he or she goes to nursing school, and they should ensure that he or she does not do the same thing that they did. This theory is based on the process of trying to find a reason or a blame for the outcome. The last scenario, the social cognitive theory is an applied theory utilizing a psychosocial and behavioral consideration. The SCT is focused on bringing sustainable behavioral change by addressing how one feels about the topic, one's existing knowledge about the topic, and one's comfortability about a topic, and how confident they are that they'll meet their goal. Wong and Mangaham, 2020. If I were to employ this theory to teach my preceptee, I would begin by asking the person how they felt about being a nurse and how confident they are in the clinical setting. I would ask the preceptee how he or she feels they learn best. I would then ask the person to set some attainable and reasonable goals for him or herself with specific timeframes. I would also introduce each new skill and concept in the same manner based on their answers. At the end of each day, I would ask the preceptee focus questions on goal progression and give suggestions on how to adjust our tract to meet said goals. I would discuss successes and opportunities for improvement that I witnessed and notated. I would also continue to provide encouragement and facilitate self-awareness and evaluation. I would devise methods of instruction based on the preceptee's perceived learning style and my own observations. For example, a hands-on approach for a kinetic learner to phlebotomy is far more effective than reading a job aid printed online. By beginning the instruction where the preceptee is most comfortable, a smoother transition is most likely to occur through the learning journey. My job, according to this theory, is to facilitate the learning journey and promote encouragement at appropriate times and emphasize knowledge acquisition in others. So this theory is learner-centered on comfortability, confidence, and self-evaluation for goal progression. The following discussed the 5 learning theories, and it went into how to use them to increase and decrease the behavior, how to combine, and how to address 3 separate scenarios that are real scenarios that are involved in everyday learning journeys. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.